But I can't believe I was gonna do that. Hey guys, it's Jorge and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about my favorite TV shows of all time. And I'm not gonna be talking about anime or cartoons. This is more gonna be about like series, live action series that I like throughout basically my whole life. And my top 10 stars with something that you might not even expect. And that is Boy Meets World. Yes, Boy Meets World. It's the 90s sitcom from ABC Family. It's a coming of age of these kids. It's about Corey Matthews, Topanga, and Sean Hunter. So in this show, you're basically following the main character, which is Corey Matthews, with his best friends and family throughout basically his childhood, teenage years, and into adult life when he goes into college. This wasn't just another show. This show was able to talk to you about friendship and relationships and love and things like that, but it was also able to talk to you about more real life struggles and issues such as sex, mental abuse, bullying, death. There's also an episode where Corey's best friend joins a cult and they basically have to figure out a way to get him back to being his normal self. Honestly, I think if some of you guys haven't seen that show, I think it will be a really good show to give it a try. Number 9 on the list will be Grey's Anatomy. Now, Grey's Anatomy has been on the air for like at least, 13 years, 14 years. It came out in like 2005. There's 15 seasons of it, and every single episode is on Netflix. So like if you want to find a new show if you haven't seen the show and you want to find a new one to like binge watch, you have over like 200 episodes on this thing. It basically follows the story of Meredith Grey. She's starting her residency at the beginning of season 1, and to say the least, she had an encounter with her boss from the get-go, like beginning the show. And then things happen. There's love, of course. That's basically what it's all about, besides medicine. And there's death, fighting. There's a shooting episode. I'm like, what? But don't think that this show is just about love and lovey-dovey stuff. There's this one episode on season 2 that basically is like a train accident, right? And something happens to them, and like a metal pole impales the victims, like 2 victims. So it goes through the guy's chest all the way back to the girl. So and basically they have to bring them together. And in the hospital, they find out that to save one, they have to sacrifice the other. So it's like, and that's just one episode. The whole thing is like 15 episodes each season, and every single episode is some crazy shit happening, bro. And that's just one of the episodes. I'm not gonna go into depth with all the other crazy. I'm telling you, there's so many crazy episodes on this show that if I start talking about them, I'm gonna spoil everything, and I don't want to do that. Every single episode should be on Netflix, and the newest episodes are going to be most likely on Hulu. I believe they come out like a day after they air live. So if I were you, I would try that show if you haven't seen it yet. Number 8 on the list will be the Law & Order SVU Special Victims Unit. This show follows the lives of the detectives in the New York City department. They investigate the sexual assault, the child abuse, and domestic violent crimes. This is another binge-worthy show. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know how you haven't seen at least one episode of this show. It's always on the USA channel, and basically they have the last 4 seasons on Netflix, but Hulu has every single episode that you can think of this show. So like if you really want to give it a try, Hulu has all 18 seasons. So let me tell you about this one episode that I can remember right now, so maybe you get an idea of what's going on, basically the overall theme of this show. There's this one girl in prison that gets raped by a man, and basically the man is basically just wants to send a message to the girl's mom, who's also in prison, basically letting her know that, like, yo, don't mess with me and my drugs. So what the main character did, she went undercover to the prison to figure out what's going on. So like, this woman goes undercover as a prisoner to the same prison where there's basically guards just raping people and abusing all these girls like nobody's business. And of course things go crazy, and the prisoner, who is actually an undercover cop, finds herself in the same situation that girl found her earlier in that episode. And things happen to the point where even to this season she still get flashbacks of what happened in that place. So it was pretty horrifying to think about it. I like those type of shows. I like crime shows, I like police. But anyways, I'm gonna just keep going down the list. The next one up is going to be number 7, which is Dexter. The show tells the story of Dexter Morgan, the blood spatter analyst for the Miami PD, who is also a serial killer. But he only kills bad people. So the way that this happened is basically when he was little, his adopted parents, well, his adopted dad figured out that he was killing animals, and he saw that he was going to be a serial killer. So what he did was he trained him to get those urges of killing people and to just do it for criminals, so people that do terrible crimes. So whenever he feels those urges, he just goes ahead and finds someone that he feels is basically a scumbag of the earth, and he goes ahead and kills them. And since he doesn't really have the same feelings as a regular human being, he just acts like it. So he has his own girlfriend. He, like I said, he has his own job. He's a splatter analyst for the Miami PD. He tries to act as normal as possible, even though that, you know, people can see that he's a little bit weird. But not weird enough where people are gonna be like, yo, this dude kills people. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only one person that is suspicious of him. But even though he's a serial killer, what the show does is basically makes you connect with the character as the seasons continue. So like, you are on his side even though he's a terrible person that kills people. Michael C. Hall is an amazing actor, and I think if you give it a try, you might like it. Dexter is back on Netflix now, so it has all the seasons are there. So if you want to give it a try, I feel like you might like that show a lot. Number 6 on the list is going to be House MD. So House is a show that I didn't watch live when it was out every week. I found it on Netflix a couple of years ago, and I was basically hooked with the show. On this show, we're basically following the arrogant and unlikable but brilliant Dr. Gregory House. He cures the incurable. So basically, any disease or situation that the patient has that no one can figure out what's going on with him and his team go and basically solve the issue by the end of the episode. And also a main key of his character is that he has a bad leg, and because of that he has to take Percocet for the pain, but he takes so much of it that he basically became a drug addict. So think about it, he's going to be your doctor. He is a arrogant and unlikable doctor who's also a drug addict. Yeah. That show is, I'm just letting you know, that show is amazing. I think you guys should give it a try. It is on Amazon Prime, but I think it's back on Netflix as of today. So try it out. Number 5 on the list is going to be Breaking Bad. So now let me tell you about this show. This show is one of the best shows you can ever see. So if you haven't seen this show, Netflix, again, they have every single season of the show. This show is about Walter White. Walter White is a chemistry teacher who on the first episode finds out that he has cancer. And to be able to provide for his family after he's gone, he does the natural thing to do, which is basically sell meth with one of his ex-students. And because this is a no spoiler list, I'm not gonna say nothing about the show. You already know the premise. It is one of the best shows of this generation. I can guarantee you that if you look it up. I'm not the only one that says that. This is one of my favorite shows for a reason. Like I said, it is on Netflix. Watch it. Love it, you won't regret it. But anyways, I'm gonna go and continue to the next one. And for number 4 on the list, I think it's time for us to get a little bit happy and lighter. It's number 4 is going to be The Office. Now, The Office is a masterpiece. It's great. It's so funny. It's clever. But honestly, what can I say about The Office that no one else has said before? It's like the most addictive show that you can watch. You just sit there and you can watch a whole season in one sitting. It's just hilarious. And this is a show that I've basically seen at least 4 times already, and I just keep going back to the first season and starting all over again, even though I've seen every single episode. And it's like, okay, I know like the last 2 seasons, I'm not gonna say anything because again, I'm not going to spoil anything. It changes the dynamic of the show, but it still has the same heart, the same feeling at the same time. I don't know if this show has an amazing cast. It has amazing writing. The way that it's filmed, everything, every joke, every punchline, everything just falls to perfection. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm telling you, it's a show that I can just spend the whole day watching and not get tired of it. It's like you have Jim and Pam and their love relationship. You have the witty, annoying manager, Michael Scott, and you have the assistant to the assistant manager, Dwight Schrute, and the guy that always says the weirdest thing, but it's always hilarious. Like, this show is just amazing. But we almost done with the list. There's 3 shows left. My number 3 pick is going to be Friends. Now, Friends is another 90s sitcom, and just like The Office, I can literally just watch every single episode, even though I've seen it already like a million times, and I'm still gonna have a good time. I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna watch the whole thing all the way through. I've seen every single season on Netflix like 5 times already. Even if there's 10 seasons of it, and every single episode, I can guarantee you I know the plot of it. I've seen it. I'm like, yo, this is one of the most hilarious shows ever. You have Ross, Monica, Rachel, Chandler, Joey, and Phoebe. This group of friends, you follow them through 10 seasons. That's 10 years of your life watching them. And every single episode is something funnier than the last one. And they also have sub-stories that follow like the main story of the whole show. On every episode, they're dealing with either romantic issues, family issues, work issues, but they make it fun. But basically, there's not a lot that I can say about this show that hasn't been already said. So without further ado, I'm just gonna continue to the top 2 T-show. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, I had my first favorite show from the get-go. So the reason why this is basically because I watched that show from the beginning. Like all these other shows, I didn't really see them live, week by week, except for my number 1 pick. My number 1 pick is my favorite show of all time. But before I get into that, let me tell you about the number 2 pick. And the number 2 pick is going to be, it was about to happen. Of course it's not gonna happen sooner than this, but it's Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to get actually into it because, to be honest, I'm not into Dungeons and Dragons and all that, knights and all that stuff, all that medieval, old time things. But I gave it a try. I downloaded the first season when it first came out. The thing is, I'm one of those people that like watching their shows with subtitles, and I didn't have the subtitles, and they were speaking with this accent, and I really couldn't get through it because, to be honest, the first couple of episodes they drag a little bit because you're meeting their characters, they're setting the story, so you know what's going on. And to me, it took me a little bit to get into that, but after I got into it, and after like the first season, starting from season 2 and on, things go down. Like every single episode, you don't wait. Like, they talk a lot, but when the action happens, things go down. They get down to business. You feel me? It's sex, violence, dragons, zombies. Like, it's an amazing show. And to me, it took me a little bit to get into it, but now I can't live without it. It's an amazing show. It's nearing to the end of its thing. There's like 5 episodes left now, but when I tell you I binge watch every single season until I caught up, so I can watch the latest season live now. Because like I said before, I wasn't able to watch it live. One, I didn't have HBO, but I know how to get away with not having HBO, so I figured it out. I saw all the episodes, and honestly, is one of the best shows of this generation. I can guarantee you that. If you haven't seen the show, just give it a try, just like I've said before. But this one specifically, this is honestly one of the best shows you can ever see. And finally, to my number 1 pick, the show that I love with all my heart, no matter what. This show, I've seen, like I said earlier, I've seen it since season 1 all the way to the latest episodes that just ended a couple of weeks ago, as the time of this video being recorded. That show is The Walking Dead. Yes, I know some people don't like it anymore, like after like season 7 and 8, but that was because the director of the show, he went off the rails. Like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking about when he made those decisions that he made during those seasons. But the new director that they have now for the latest one, season 9, she actually went back to the comics. She took all the story from the comics, and it feels like a brand new show. It feels rejuvenated. But if you're one of those persons that don't know exactly what the show is about, or you might be interested, let me tell you real quick. Basically, what happened, Rick Grimes gets hurt in the line of duty trying to get a criminal, and he goes into a coma. While he's in the coma, all hell breaks loose. So the zombie apocalypse happens, and his best friend Shane, he locks him in the hospital room, so basically the army doesn't kill him, because the army is out there killing everyone, infected or not. So he tries to save him there, and then he takes Rick's wife and son into safety. And after Reeks wakes up from the coma, he gets out of the hospital. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know that there's a zombie apocalypse happening. So he gets out of the hospital. He sees that there's chaos everywhere. There's no one outside. He sees this little girl walking, and he asks her what's going on, but the little girl's actually a zombie. So the first thing you see is him shooting that little girl in the face. But that's basically all I'm gonna tell you. The story, it's the first season is him trying to find his family, and after he's finding his family, it's going to be them getting into a safe place. There's 9 seasons of it, and every season they get amazing. But guys, these are my top 10 favorite TV shows that I have of all time. There's a lot of TV shows that I've watched that just didn't make the list. Let me know down below which one, if you agree with me, or if you have the same shows as your favorites, and what will be your top 10 list. I'll see you in the next one, guys.